Hey, do your blankets feel like super glue in the morning? Well, sis, it's time to shake them off. Welcome to Wake Up Happy Sis, the show that jumpstarts your day with a bang. We're strolling down these self-care streets as we navigate the maze of wellness and healing. We're helping you live happy, healed, and whole. And we do it all with a hearty dose of belly laughs for good measure. Stay tuned and get ready to wake up happy, sis. Hey, Boost. Hey, it's your Chief Self-Love Officer, Leanne Dulce, along with my fabulous co-host, Sharon DeCelie, and welcome to another exciting, uplifting episode of the Wake Up Happy Sis Show. We're broadcasting live on KCCR Cityscape Radio, and today we're diving into something that can be deep, powerful, and transformative, writing your way to healing. Writing is more than just putting simple words on a paper. It is honestly a way for us to process our emotions, to find clarity, and to even help us build stronger connections with ourselves and with the world around us. Now, this episode is special because if you didn't know, it's Write a Friend Month. I didn't know that.
Neither.
Yes, it is Write a Friend Month. When's the last time you wrote a real letter, right? To somebody, an actual handwritten letter.
This century?
That part we
1900s.
Well, that's why I said we could say this century and last century. Ooh,
See, you see,
ooh, yes, probably about that long for me too. But
let that sit there for a second. This century or last century?
So we actually have two great guests who are joining us today. We have Alicia Hurt, a minister, author of over 32 books. So we won't get down with Alicia and all these books she got just popping. She better have, look, and if she is listening, she better have some books like where she could show us. Because you know, Sharonda, we don't play. She better be like Bow. Oh, Bow.
Oh, it's right here. Bow. And there. And there.
If she don't have to spread like this, these are some of we ain't playing with Alicia. So we just letting her know if she happened to be somewhere listening, she better get ready. Okay. And she's also the founder of I See My Baby. And hopefully she's going to share how writing helped her turn personal pain into a ministry of empowerment. And we also have Ronnie Morgan, who is a writer and a designer who works to create inclusive spaces for healing. And hopefully she's going to tell us how she uses storytelling to uplift and inspire. So grab your journal, grab your pen and paper, whatever, because this is an episode you guys don't want to miss. Let's go. Let's welcome our guests. I don't know where Alicia was.
Let's.
Well, at Alicia as soon as she gets right back to her sense. Welcome, Ronnie. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
We are fabulous. And welcome, Alicia. How are you?
Hey, y'all. Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning. Good morning. All right. So the first kind of segment, I kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit about who you are, what you do. And I love to let people introduce themselves, honestly, because I feel like can't nobody do me like I do, right? So, Alicia, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey?
Absolutely. My name is Alicia Hurt, born and raised in the DMV area. Palmer Park raised me. I currently reside in Southwest Georgia. I'm a mother of 4, of which I was told I could not have, a wife of 18 years, and I'm an overcomer. So I am here before you because God said so. I'm happy and delighted to share that I have a nonprofit that has existed virtually for the past year, and we have just opened our first brick and mortar here in Bainbridge, Georgia, a women's wellness center.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We love it. We love it. Yes, we love a good. So let me ask you this. Well, we're gonna introduce Ronnie, and then we're gonna come back to you because I have some questions for both you guys. So Ronnie, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, so I'm Ronnie Morgan. I currently reside in Northern Indiana, which is about as exciting as it sounds. I am a blogger. I have been writing pretty much my entire life, but professionally off and on for the past probably about 10 years. I do have a book. I am working on another one. Don't ask me what it's called yet because I'm still working that out.
That's okay. It'll come. I feel like the titles for my books have come when they needed to.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too, for sure. I'm recently married, so that's been really an exciting time. Yeah. So yeah, but I realize at this point in helping neurodivergent and medically complex entrepreneurs get the back ends of their businesses rolling, help them with strategy, and it's very near and dear to my heart as I am working around disabilities myself, and that is why I created the businesses that I have because I needed something that I could actually do that didn't involve working for someone else. So that is a little bit of my background. Yeah.
All right. So, Alicia, tell us about I See My Baby and how you birthed this organization.
Absolutely. So I wrote my first book on my journey, overcoming, getting a house at 21, losing it a couple years later. That was the first book. So the second book, near and dear to my heart, it was me overcoming infertility, battling a lack of faith and depression. And the book's title is I See My Baby, with a kind of transparent picture of my first child that opened my womb up. And that is how we birthed the ministry. So right after I finished the book, God was like, it's not done. Like, the work is actually just starting. I'm like, but I just put my whole business out there in this book. And so that's how we birthed I See My Baby. And I just vowed never to allow any woman in my touch, in my reach, to feel like I felt. I felt like I was alone. Even though I had a village around me, I just felt like no one understood and could really help me out of the rut that I was in navigating my journey. And so that is how I See My Baby was birthed.
Awesome. I love that. And I think, yeah, we sometimes, especially I think after writing a book, you definitely go, oh, yeah, it's there. I did the thing. And yeah, God will tap you on the shoulder, be like, you know, that was just the beginning. That was just
Yes.
the beginning. There's so much more for us to do. And so, Ryan, tell us a little bit about your first book and, you know, kind of what was your inspiration? And do you have a copy of it? Because, as I said before, we like to see the book.
I don't know where my hard copy is right now.
I'm going to need y'all to do better. I'm going to need
I know.
better.
Well, you know, the hard part for me with my first book is like I put a lot into that. I wrote it when I was in my 20s. It's really kind of a love letter to 20 somethings and about creating a life on your own terms, not feeling like you have to follow, you know, like graduate high school, go to college, do this, do that. Like, and it's about getting out of that. And I put so much into this book and then I didn't do anything with it. It's just there. I've sold copies, but I haven't promoted it, this and that. And I feel like now my life is so drastically different than when I wrote that book.
As
That
it
is
should
why I'm
be. That was
exactly.
decades ago.
And maybe I should be putting more into it to get it out there because there are probably people that need to read it still, you know, that these 20 somethings that need that guidance that I could offer them back then, that now I'm speaking to a whole different audience now.
Exactly.
So but yeah, it was a really interesting time in life. I felt like I had a lot to say because I did things a lot differently than a lot of my counterparts. And, you know, I am proud of it. I just don't really talk about it ever.
Well,
And not even tell, Ronnie.
maybe this is the wake up call for you to circle back around to it. I am a firm believer that nothing happens by chance.
Yeah.
We are brought together to do something. And maybe that's your call, and that's that little tap on the shoulder.
I was going to say, this is maybe the tap on the shoulder you're talking about.
Tap on the shoulder, because especially now in this day and age, and you're looking at all the things that are happening, all the division that they're trying to create by race, by gender, by sexuality, by pick a thing, right? They're trying to pick us apart. And now more than ever, we have to come out of that groupthink mentality. That's typically what we're grown from. That's what 12 years of school does. is it teaches you how to think the way they want you to think,
Mhm.
right? So
Absolutely.
you having a book that says, hey, you don't have to be like that. You can forge your own path is something that not just 20 somethings need, Ronnie.
You're right. You're right.
There's a lot of 40 and 50 and somethings that could probably use that same book. So
Mhm.
I expect, our expectation, we have expectations here on the Wake Up Happy Sis show, is that Ronnie's going to go back out. She's going to
Me
push that
too.
book
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it might mean that, hey, there's a revision of the book because
Yeah.
now you have more life experience,
Yes.
right? You've
Right.
had your own challenges and things that you've worked through and you have overcome. So just imagine the wealth of knowledge that you can pour. You can be pouring into people right in this moment.
Now I got to
Just
work on it.
not trying to, not trying to push you or anything.
No, I got to work on it because it's true. I'm like, if people see that book and they read it, and I do think there are lessons in there that would absolutely reach any age range and any range group. And my writing coach that I worked with said the same thing when we were writing it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, because of everything I've been through since then, it's like that's a whole other book, and I'm very excited about that book. But I think they could easily go together
Yeah.
harmoniously as well. So yeah, it's the shoulder tap. You're right.
Volume 1 and volume 2, baby.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. So, Alicia, how has writing really helped you process some of your own experience that you may have had with infertility, depression, loss, things of that nature?
Writing was very therapeutic and continues to be. While I was writing my second book, I see my baby. My mom was going through fourth stage lung cancer. And even though I was writing the book, I didn't really get that love for writing back like I had before. And as she was going through a process, I just kept writing. I kept writing. And then it just became freeing. The tears started to flow. And literally, that's how all of these 30 something books was birthed in like a 2-year span. I was just
Oh,
overcoming, just going through it. Um, and my creativity, it was like, woo, like my sensors just went off. So definitely healing, therapy. When I talk to my clients, I tell them just write the color of the sky, just write and just let it just pour out on the page. It's so freeing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
yes. I'm a big believer in the just right concept. And I think sometimes people are intimidated because they feel like they have to come out with all these profound things when you write. It's like you don't. Write about what you're feeling in the moment. And if you don't even know what you're feeling, write that down.
Yep.
Right? I literally, if I write, sometimes I'll just doodle. I'm a big doodler and notes taker. Anybody who knows me knows I probably got 6 different journals that I've made or that I've bought because I love a good journal that have various degrees of plans and things and all the things in there um, that just helps me process through what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling in the moment. So let's ask you, Ronnie, how have your personal kind of experiences, right? You've talked about being a disabled writer, you've talked about being neurodivergent, and how those things kind of shaped your approach to storytelling.
Mm. Some of those, my journey to diagnosis and realizing that I had these disabilities that I was going to have the rest of my life was a long road. And as I said before, I've been writing for so long that it really, I think over time, my writing sort of shifted, but the lessons that I had learned along the way were always there. One of my favorite concepts when it came to writing was let yourself have a shitty first draft. And I believe it was Brene Brown that I got that from. And I was like, that is so like, yes, because you want to edit as you're writing. And I'm like, I'm not able to edit my life as I'm experiencing it. So why am I editing my writing as I'm trying to get it out of me?
Right.
So going through the diagnosis process, and dealing with things that people my age weren't dealing with, getting 2 hip replacements at 29, these
Jesus,
things. It's
girl.
like there was nothing out there for me to read. So I was like, I need to write it. Like that's what I'm being called to do, is like I have to write this journey. And so I just word vomited all the time,
Mm.
and then eventually went back and was like, okay, let me edit this down a little bit because this is real long and nobody's going to read it all. And it was just this kind of give and take in the process constantly. But it was the allowance of just doing it that helped me cope and understand how I was feeling, and not just intellectualize my feelings, but actually feel them,
Mhm.
was a big piece. So that was all of that really shaped. And then learning I had ADHD when I was in my 30s, that was like a huge, and again, it was the same process. Shitty first draft. How am I feeling? What is this? What am I going to do with it? Until I got to a point where I was like, okay, I can actually use this experience to help other people too. But I have to help myself first. And writing was a huge way for me to do that.
Yes, I definitely. I think if most of us look, we'll find a large segment of the population has some form of ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially adult. I would say maybe adult onset.
Mm.
ADHD wasn't something that, like, you know, we didn't have that when I was growing up. We didn't have a lot of these conditions and things that are being diagnosed now, right? We just had, he just got too much energy. He can't focus, whatever, right? And so, and especially I think the way that we are kind of pushed to do certain things, it kind of forces us sometimes into these things. So I don't know if you're born neurodivergent and it just kind of comes out at certain times, or if this is something that kind of comes out gradually. Because I know I wasn't neurodivergent as a child. Today, I've never been diagnosed, but if I had to guess, I would probably say I am, just based off of knowing people who are neurodivergent and so many of the similarities
Mm-hmm.
that I see in how they process and how I process. And so I can see that very much shaping how your writing changes over time, right? How you see, because how you see the world is going to shift.
Mm-hmm.
How you experience the world, how you see your own experiences. So I really love that you said have a shitty first draft,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody thinks their first draft of their book has to be the most amazing, it probably isn't.
No.
It's
No.
what I call a jumbled clusterfuck for me,
Yes.
because when I think, I can't always think linearly.
Mm-mm.
So your mind's going to pop around. This makes you think of this, makes you think of that. And you're like, how do I get all of this? How do I now corral all of this into something coherent that has meaning and has impact? So when you were creating your 30 something books, writing these books, Alicia, because over a 2 year span is crazy. She's like, I got a book this week, I got a book next week. What was that process like for you? Like you said, when those floodgates came open and it was just all of these things coming out, what was that like for you?
So my mom fought for 3 years. And during that time, my sister-in-law said to me, because she went through the same thing with her dad. She said, get what you need. No matter what you want to ask, what you want to experience, get it. And in that, we crammed so much into that time. There were so many emotions. A lot of my books are children's books. Some are co-authored actually with my children. But one in particular is called Just the Way I Am. And I just remember pondering on growing up, how I felt, but how my mom and dad just loved me unconditionally. And I just started writing. Just started writing. Like you guys said, it was messy. Started writing, and I use my Google Drive. Even if something just pops in at a red light, I just start in my phone. And then I just kept looking back at it. And what my key to success was my virtual assistant, Marielle. Shout out to Marielle.
Mm.
And I said, Mariel, I got a whole bunch of stuff in this folder. Help me put it together. And we put it together and it became a really good children's book. And I'm like, these kids are writing these books, reading these books and not understanding the pain that I went through, the emotions that I went through, but it's good stuff. It's so creative. You know, one was seasons are changing. And it was me seeing my mom deteriorate and seeing that she wasn't as fun. So, okay, here's fall. You know, we're not having these summers anymore. And it became a really good children's book. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's amazing, especially the process of co-authoring those with your children.
I like that.
Bringing your children into that process, because I think one, our children do by seeing, right? How many times have you saw a child and then you saw their parents and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
That's so true.
total,
I
that
get
is
it
your
now.
kid. I get it, right?
Yes.
So they see, they understand and they learn by seeing us. So what was that process like for your kids? Like, were they super excited when they finally saw the book? Because I can imagine as a kid, and you're like, oh my God, this is, me and my mom did this book. That had to be so amazing for them.
So it was an assignment. So at first it wasn't that like glamorous for them. I said summertime, and it doesn't mean you're going to break because I'm still working. So get your notepads and we're writing stories. Oh, mom, So the first summer it was, but then when they saw their work and we went back and forth with the illustrator and they were like, oh my God, like they really bought into it. So this past summer I said, time to write another book. And my oldest said, your name's not going on this one.
Oh,
I'm doing it all by myself. And the illustrator came back with her images, and she was like, "Nope, don't like that. Nope, this needs to look like this." So I was like, "Woo!" So, needless to say, they're writers. All three of the
Who
girls,
keeps
they're
them
writers.
square?
I love that. She was like, first of all, this is my book. This is not our. No,
I got
our.
this, mommy.
I got this. You go over there and write
Yes.
your little book, Mom. I'm over here with my book. And then go tell the illustrator, excuse me, no. Mm-mm.
No,
But
you didn't do it.
that's
That's
such
not
an
it.
empowering. But I love that because that's such an empowering thing for us to give to our children. And even though she started, they started kicking and screaming, look at where they've gone now. And so as we think about creativity, Ronnie, what role do you think creativity, kind of both visual creativity and written, play in kind of this your healing process and your empowerment journey?
I would say it plays the biggest role for me. It is how I have coped. It's how I have processed. I've gone through therapy and various other like I've gone through ketamine therapy and talk therapy and all these different things. And those have been huge. I needed them, and I'm glad that I was able to get them. But the writing process and sharing the journey, talking about it, being on podcasts, things like that, like sharing and storytelling has been how I have coped more than anything. Maybe a lot of humor, but that goes into my writing too. I'm like, not like I used to use humor to just kind of cover all the emotions. Now I just use them to enhance the story and like help people connect. But yeah, it's been everything. I don't know how anybody gets through anything without letting their creativity shine in some way. I have a history, like I'm a singer. That's really what I did my whole life. And so for a long time, that's what it was for me, in addition to writing. So I think no matter what your outlet is that's creative, do it and do it loud and don't, do it unabashedly. Like just do the thing. Because the healing that it brings is second to none.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Right. And for those people that say, oh, but I'm not creative, I don't have a thing, everybody does.
Everybody's creative.
Everybody does. You may have to be and think outside of the box about what creativity is. Right. Some people love numbers. Right. Some people love different things. to me, your creativity doesn't have to be what everybody feels creativity is,
Mm-mm.
right? My creativity, I don't know. I mean, for me, my creativity is that I get inspiration from a lot of different things. If I see a design, I can probably recreate it very easily, right? But sometimes it don't come to me. So I've never tried to limit my creativity. Like I'll go and I'll write. Now I cannot sing, but I will sing.
Mhm.
Don't think you ain't gonna get me in no karaoke night. I don't, because I'm gonna be out there whether you like it or not. I can hold a note. I can't sing. That's what I
Fair,
tell people. I can
fair.
hold a note. I can't sing, right? But I'll go. I taught myself how to sew. I
Mm.
am a crafter. But growing up, I would have never, none of these had any interest to me. I was a tech, I was a nerd, give me a computer, a book. So I think we have to try new things so that we can determine where our creativity lies versus automatically thinking because I don't know how to do something, I must not be talented and or creative.
Yes.
There's a book by Stephen Covey called Keep the Main Thing the Main Thing. Every single person has a thing.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Just keep it the main thing and don't get distracted. Keep the main thing in front of you and focus.
Right.
It's a whole book. Keep the main thing the main thing.
That's it.
Yes.
I need to
I think
put that
there's this
down.
lie that we tell ourselves that when we kind of grow up on it, that it's like if you don't have some innate talent at something that you can't do it. And it's like that is the biggest lie that I know, at least for me, for sure. I grew up thinking, well, I'm good at this, so this is what I need to be doing, but I don't like crocheting. I taught myself how to crochet. I what crocheting? Like you're just making something out of nothing? What? And so I taught myself how to do it. And it's like YouTube, right? Like if you have any interest, if something strikes you, even something you've never done before, go to YouTube and there is a video to teach you how to do it.
That's it. I've learned
Yeah.
how to fix things on my car.
Mm-hmm.
Now, am I gonna do it long term? No. But I can go change a light bulb. I can do little things like this, right? I feel like I honestly could do some more heavier things because if there's a video out there, I can do it. And I think we have to look at writing kind of the same way, right? There is no one way to write.
Mm.
There is no right way to write, right? And it isn't, to me, writing isn't just a creative act. Like we've all shown, it is a very therapeutic and healing kind of action that we take and um, benefit that we give ourselves, right? A healing modality that we give ourselves. So, studies from the University of Texas highlight how expressive writing reduces cortisol levels. It promotes which promotes relaxation and mental clarity. Just from writing, imagine that. I'm bringing down my stress. I'm getting mental clarity. How many times have you been writing something and the answer to something else you wasn't even thinking about comes to you? That
Hmm.
happens to me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That happens to me a lot. So now, I also think when we look at writing, I look at it personally um, as a safe space for me to, what do you call it? To just express how I'm feeling. These things don't ever have to see the light of day. And on Instagram, we've got Chosen Riches. Hey, Chosen Riches, who said, free writing is beautiful. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I try to do. So if I'm feeling something, I feel like it's a safe space for me to get out all the feelings, all the hurt, all the anger. I write letters to people all the
Yes,
time that will never see the light of day. That's why I said I don't know in this
that part.
century that I've actually written a letter to somebody that they've actually received, right? If you don't stop, sorry. This is first time in my office and he don't know how to act. So, uh, but I will write a letter to somebody because that's how I express my emotions. And you can cuss at them in your letter.
Mm-hmm.
You can say all the things. I feel like take that time to get those feelings out, right? And it doesn't mean you send a letter. You might want to, you might choose to send a letter. right? But just realize that what you're doing is you're creating your safe space. And sometimes you will learn, well, oftentimes you'll learn a lot about yourself in that process as well, right? And I know it's helped me let go of people, places, things that were not in my best interest, that I may have had a hard time getting through before, right? Because as we process those feelings, those emotions, you got to let some of it go. And I feel like when I'm writing, by the time I write it down, I'm letting it go after it's on that paper.
Yep.
Brain
And
dump.
yes, it's a heart dump for me. Not even a brain dump, it's a heart dump. I'm a Cancer, so I'm a super emotional person, right? I'm very well connected with my emotions and the emotions of others. But once I write it down, I have to find that separation moment to where I let it go. Because you don't want to write it down and you keep going back over it and over it and over it and over it in your mind and your heart. But sometimes you have to do that until you've vomited all of that out.
Yep. Be repetitive. That's the space. It's like I could not, like, writing letters to people that you never send has been one of the best therapies I have ever put myself through. And I will write the same person 50 letters and they'll be repetitive and they will be, and you just do, and it's like, but no, of course I'm not going to send them because that's not the point. I don't need to,
It's not
right?
for them.
It's not like, this is about me, so if you've never done that practice, oh Lord, please do. It will change things for you.
And it can, in some instances, it can save your relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because when you do it, don't judge anything that you write. You're trying to be mindful in this moment and get those feelings out that you're feeling, but don't judge the feelings. Thank you, John Jay. Thank you for the hearts over there. But don't judge it, because I think that's what stops us from putting our real feelings down. Is sometimes it's real ugly how we're feeling, but that is what you need to process through. You need to see that ugly. You need to see how deep that pain runs, so that as you write and it starts to get lighter and lighter and lighter, it feels like a weight. Literally, for me, it feels like a weight coming off of my chest. And so, yes, Ronnie, I will write somebody. Look, I write the same letter in my head over and over. I have so many letters that they may not even be written out sometimes. They're written in my head. And I'm going over conversations and why didn't I speak up and why didn't I say this and why didn't? Because a lot of times we're often putting everybody else's feelings above our own. We don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings, so we will hurt our own feelings. We will break our heart. Or we will hurt the person who's actually hurting us.
Yep.
So Chosen Riches says, writing is unearthed feelings that her mouth is afraid to say. And yes. Oh, and she also said she has a things I hate journal. I'm about to do that. And then she burns it, but then she burns it after.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's not about the other person. When we get past that hurdle and realize it's never been about them, it's always about us. That's such a freeing thing that you can write exactly how you feel. Because I will cuss a person out. I like to cuss. Okay. I like to cuss and make my lips feel tingly and excited. Something about having a little sailor mouth, that just helps you feel spicy, right? But I will let it all out.
Yep.
Because I can then let it go. At some point, it might be letter 49, might be letter 72. But at some point, I've vomited. There's nothing left. It's like when you get that dry heave at the end, there's nothing left. And then I can move on. And it's, to me, that's one of the ways that we head into the storm and we face the feelings, we face the fear, we face the hurt, we face the anger. Because for so long, especially growing up in my generation, and Sharonda, I don't know if you dealt with this. Is like I said, we lock things away. Something hurts me, we lock it away because we got to keep moving forward.
Hmm.
So we have all these little lock boxes in our soul of pain that's just building up and building up and building up, and like a balloon, it's gonna bust. And I would much rather it bust on this paper than the alternative is for me to bust somebody's head,
Mm.
Right.
because that's what
Mhm.
happens, right? We go into a blind rage or whatever, these killings that come out of emotion because somebody was not dealing with their own mental and emotional pain until it bursts, right? So think of it as creating your safe space, guys, right?
Mhm.
Think of it as discovering who you are. This is your time for self discovery, for you to learn about your triggers. Most people I found, they can't heal because they don't even know what the real trigger is,
Yep.
right? Writing can help you see that. Writing can
Right.
help you get down to the nitty gritty.
Mhm.
So, Alicia, when was kind of the first moment you realized that writing really was helping you heal on front of these 37, 42, 87 books we got?
Right. So I believe in Jesus and therapy, right? Hand in hand. And
Yes.
in those therapy sessions, the conversation just segued into me writing my book. And my therapist at the time just really encouraged me to just continue tapping in and journaling. And that's when the pathway started to open. And by nature, I'm a stuffer, meaning like you all alluded to, like you just put everybody before you, but I was goal driven. And so it was just a check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. And I'm just stuffing and stuffing and stuffing. And it helps me to do a self-check. So as I'm writing, and the tears start to flow, I start to get angry. I start to get sad. I start to laugh. I'm like, what is going on with you? You crazy girl. And it's like, no, you've been stuffing all of this. You've been
Mm.
stuffing it. And so as I continue to write, and how I just really felt like I was just peeling back layers. Like, why am I going back to elementary school at the bus stop? Why am I going back to this play when my mama was there and I looked across the room and I saw her and we met each other's eyes? Those were the moments, the defining moments that said, no, this is the key, Alicia, because I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've sold everything, Avon, Mary Kay, houses, you name it, in life insurance, right? But when I started writing and started doing those, I was like, no, this is it. I am where I'm supposed to be. I am fulfilling my purpose in life through this pen and this paper and supporting women holistically through this writing. That's how I knew this is it.
Yes. I love that because I think all of us kind of are traveling through life searching for our thing, right?
Mhm.
Our reason for being here, our gift that we have been given to give to the world, to share with the world. Um, so I think it's awesome that you found that and you're like, 32 books later, you see it, see it, right? But, and I love how, so let me ask you this. How many of your books are children's books?
Oh, I want to say maybe 15. So we're at 39 books to date.
Okay.
So maybe 15.
It's
My
almost
children's book, I have journals, devotionals in there as well. Yeah.
okay. I love that. I love
Mhm.
that. Okay. So, how do you think, and this is for anybody, round robin, um, how do you think that writing offers something that talking about something or think about something alone that you don't get with those other modalities?
Hmm?
Do you guys understand what I'm
Okay, I
saying?
have an
So,
example.
okay.
So one of my recent series is called Growing Up Gracefully. And it's talking about topics that I know personally I didn't get to have with my mom. So one is puberty, the puberty talk.
Mm.
When I started my cycle, I was in class And I went to the nurse and I was like, I need to call my mama. She's like, what's going on, girl? Y'all know how the school nurse was, what's going on? And I told her my stomach's hurt and I just saw something. She was like, here, take this, going in the bathroom, you're fine, and going back to class. And so, my mama gave me what I needed when I got home, but I never really had the discussions. Like now we have period parties and all of this. And so,
Yeah.
when I got here in South Georgia, I said, well, how can I help? How can I be a value add? And in surveying some of the educators here, it said, no, we really need support with having those conversations, mentoring the young ladies, talking about hygiene, talking about puberty, talking about your emotions, your hormones, and how all this comes about. And so that's how we created the 3-part series, Growing Up Gracefully. So to answer your question, like that would be an example of it, how it helps, because we're not really talking about it, but now I'm opening up that pathway. So at the Wellness Center, we're going to have these discussions. It's going to be in a book, but we're going to open it up, right? So read it, talk about it. You can be like, oh my God, why am I talking about? Because we need to. We need to normalize having these conversations.
Yes. I think, I agree. I think writing allows you to start the dialogue that sometimes you might be too embarrassed to talk about, especially if you're a teen, preteen, you're in that still developmental stage of your life, right? Where you feel like you're being judged by everybody, you're never good enough, blah, blah, blah. Writing can open that bridge, can open that dialogue and that conversation a lot easier and faster than actually just having that conversation. Especially if you're an introvert.
Yep.
And you want me to what? Talk to somebody I know. Right? So I think that's kind of what I was saying, because I know Sharonda, you were like, what are you talking about? Right. So the original question was, how does writing offer something that talking or thinking alone doesn't?
It offers the freedom to say the things that you can't say without crying or blubbering or being incommunicative. Writing helps with the freedom to get it out off your chest and out of your head uninterruptedly.
Yeah.
Yes. And so Chosen Riches says one thing. She says she hates her fear, her need for control, and her comfortability with isolation. And I feel like sometimes writing helps us get out of that sometimes. That feeling of isolation, that feeling of fear. Because you can write yourself as the heroine in your own story, right? Sometimes when you're thinking and you're not confident in your thing, you can write that confidence in. Right? We can write things. Yes, you know what I mean? So I think it really helps us figure out how to be the best version of ourselves. Because to me, if you can write it, you can see it. If you can see it, you can achieve it.
Yes.
There's a pathway now because I can see it. If I can see it, baby, it's a foregone conclusion that I can have it. And writing, I think, helps people see what they can't feel or what they don't feel in the moment. Okay, so Ronnie, what advice would you give to someone who's afraid to confront their emotions on paper?
First of all, I would say I see you. I think we've all been you. I think to be afraid is normal. But you do hard things all the time, every day. You're faced with hard things and you're doing the hard things. So if there's this fear when you sit down to write because you're afraid to confront those emotions, that's exactly what you need to be doing.
Yes.
So do the hard thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think I would tell people, start small. You don't got to write a book.
Oop.
I tell people you can start by writing 1 minute a day. Whatever you're thinking, 1 minute, 2 minutes. And each week you just add on.
Yep.
Right?
The standard is that you can go more, but you can't go less than a
Yeah.
minute. And
Mhm.
you just start, not start somewhere. Just start, because nothing's gonna be perfect. Just start and tweak as you go.
Nothing is wrong. Like, nothing you say when you start writing is the wrong thing.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You can start with gratitude,
Mhm.
right? If you don't
Mhm.
know what to write about, take 1 minute each morning or even each night before you go to sleep and write for 1 minute about what you were grateful for in that day,
Hmm.
Yep.
right? Write about what went well with your day. Write about the challenges you had and how you would change those challenges if you could go back, right? Because what it does is allows us to process through what we can't process through in the moment. It gives us that reflection time, right? And then you just build comfort. You just build to a comfortable level of, okay, now I can process what happened to me. Because you may not be able to process what happened to you in that moment,
Yep.
but go back and do it later. Writing allows
Yeah.
you that time, and it's not about perfection. Just write your truth. I don't care if you've got every other letter wrong. You don't have to know how to spell, sound it out.
Nope.
There's even devices called an dictaphone, or use the record button on your phone. Get it out of your head and on, just out of your head and on some media,
Yeah,
so it can get out of your head, so you can free up that space. Just start.
yeah. Most of the phones now have um, voice to text,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
where you talk and it'll write. Google Docs has that functionality, right? You can
I
speak
live in
into
it.
your computer. You say, "What?
Yeah.
That's
I
it."
live
Like,
in it. I was gonna say that. Yes.
so you don't have to know how to spell. You don't have to worry about grammar. Just write. And that 1 minute may not even be all at the same time. You may write 30 seconds. Let's say you had 5 minutes. You might write 2 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes at night. It's okay to stop and come back to it,
Yep.
right? It's your journey.
Mhm.
It's your journey. It's your process. Nobody can tell you what you're doing is right or wrong. Just do it, you know? So, oh, somebody's about to say something? Okay, let's talk. I want to talk in our last segment. I want to talk about tools and tips and techniques, right? To help those who may be new. And hey, I want to incorporate writing into my daily life for healing, for growth, and for connection, right? Do you guys have some prompts that you guys use or that you guys would recommend to somebody that, hey, I'm new to writing. I really want to try, but I don't even know where to start. What's one prompt, writing prompt,
Thank you.
journaling prompt that you would give?
Thank you. From a
Yeah.
place of gratitude. Thank
Yep.
you. I've been journaling for 23 years,
Yes.
and I'm always, it's a communication with me and my God. We're on a personal basis. So he's my daddy. So daddy, guess what happened to me today? And I just go in the right. He knows, of course, but he craves the intimacy. So me writing and getting things out of my head and saying thank you, and just, I mean, sometimes it is just one sentence, or sometimes it's several pages, but I'm writing something every night because I owe so much. It is my job to say thank you and just start.
Yeah.
I love that.
So my first journal is called I Will Overcome. It's a 30-day journal, and it has a theme for every day. It has an application. It has a gratitude page. I wholeheartedly agree with the gratitude. But I've also put a QR code there, because even though you're doing this by yourself, I'm telling you, you're not alone. So you listen, you scan the QR code, and I'm talking to you every day for those 30 days. I'm encouraging you on whatever that topic is, and that helps you to get the writing to start. And so I would say that's a great place to start, is to utilize a journal, if not mine, just something similar to that, where it gives you an application, it gives you something to ponder on, to then get your ideas and your creativity flowing.
So you ain't got it. Now I already told you to have it. Now I know I said that at the beginning, Alicia. Did I not say that, Sharonda?
She did. She totally
Can I
did.
put my church finger up? Like,
Look,
Get that book while Ronnie is telling her
they're
tips.
all at the center.
Exactly.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I ain't gonna go too hard on you, Alicia. But how
It's
you
a
got
lot.
39 books and you got 42 journals? You ain't got not one journal, not one.
No.
That's what her mouth say. I have some trust issues, maybe.
A little bit. We got a
Girl,
little.
my
We got a little.
yes.
Okay, we ain't gonna go hard on you like that.
Again,
But
it's fine.
we ain't gonna go hard on you like
Yeah.
that. But next time,
Yes,
get it
ma'am.
together. Get it
Yes,
together, Lisa.
ma'am.
Just look. You see what I could do right here? Look? Okay, my
Yeah.
boom right here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my
Receipts.
book right there.
Receipts.
Okay,
Receipts.
I'm gonna, you and
Understand
Ronnie,
the excitement, lady.
Alicia and Ronnie gonna get it together.
Yeah, they are.
Yes,
We'll
ma'am.
get it together.
Yes,
I have all confidence in them that they next podcast, show, interview, whatever, they're
yes,
gonna be
amen.
honest. They're gonna be honest, Sharon. They're gonna be like, excuse me.
We're gonna have receipts.
Yeah.
They're gonna have fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They get some fans so they can look. They're gonna get it together.
They'll be ready.
So, Ronnie, what about you? What's a good prompt that you use?
So definitely the grateful. So my nieces, my brother and his wife they do gratefuls at bedtime every night. And if you're involved in bedtime, you also do gratefuls. And it's like 3 things. So that I agree with 100%. And then other things to try is like, what emotion am I feeling most today? And why do I think that might be coming up? Or, thinking in the past, like if you're feeling very, a lack of peace, to think, when is the last time I actually felt peace? What was I doing?
I love that.
That kind of stuff. Like and if you don't know if you just can't quite break through something, I use AI for like everything now. If
There
you're
you
like,
go.
I don't know what to say, go to Chat GPT and be like, what should I write about today? And let Chat GPT tell you what to write about.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's like, use technology.
Yeah.
If you have a smartphone, download the app. It's free.
Period. And you could talk into it. You don't even have to type. You
No.
can talk into it. It has a voice and it'll talk back to you. You can have whole conversations with it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, little. Anybody want a dog? Anybody want? He's barely used. He's gently used.
He's doing the
Oh,
job.
we had dogs and chickens over here. We good over here.
So, yes, he's a mess. So some of the prompts I think that I like, definitely always gratitude, right? What am I grateful for today? But I got a few more for you, some that you guys may not think about. What's one thing I'm proud of this week, right? What's one thing I need to forgive myself for? Sometimes we're speaking to that little inner child.
Yep.
Writing a letter to our younger selves.
Yeah.
More Ronnie with her book, right? That was a letter to the 20-somethings. If I could speak to someone I've lost, what would I say?
I like that one.
Yeah.
That one hits really hard when you've lost somebody close to you. And then for growth, what's holding me back from living my best life? And what does that even mean? What does freedom look like to me? What does happiness look like to me? Like Ryan said, when was the last time I felt peace, happiness, real joy? and describe your dream day 5 years from now. Like, you know, and you can create, like Ronnie said, we're going to AI. You can go to AI and say, hey, AI, can you give me 32 prompts for growth, for healing, for prosperity, for self-love, for financial empowerment? There are 8 dimensions of wellness. You can say, chat, Uncle C, Uncle G, Chat GPT or Claude, whichever you like, or whatever AI tool you like. Can you give me, you can say 365, you can have a prompt a day.
Mm-hmm.
And say, can you give me 365 writing prompts around the 8 dimensions of wellness?
Mm-hmm.
It knows what the 8 dimensions, all of them know what the 8 dimensions of wellness are. And it will give you prompts. You're going to then take those prompts and you're going to print them out on your printer, cut them up, and then put them in a jar. And now you've got a prompt jar. Or if we want to go in a more digital, because I'm a digital gal, you put it as reminders so that every day you get a new reminder that shows, oh, what's my writing prompt for the day?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So now you never have to be out of ideas of what to write about. There's always something that we can write about until you get to where you're comfortable writing about your emotions. Or what about this? Describe your current mood as a weather pattern. As a weather pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of interesting. Think of
Mm-hmm.
yourself like you're a weather forecaster. So, ooh, I like this one. If my life were a playlist, what songs would tell my story?
Oh.
I have to write about that because I would have a very eclectic playlist because my life has been so different at different times, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, see, this is why we don't have pets or little children in the studio because they do
For what
things.
for?
This is first. I was like, let me try something different. It didn't work. It didn't work. He's going back to where he's supposed to be. But he's a puppy, so he's just. I'm trying to let him get his.
Oh.
You guys want to meet him?
Yeah, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
We like 4-legged coworker.
You want to get up here. So this is the newest addition to the family. His name is Reese Cup. Quantavious Dulce. Yes, his middle name is Quantavious.
He just needed some attention.
Because he's a fighter. He wants people to know that don't think because he's small.
That's
that he's
right.
not scrappy. Right? Let him know. Just because you like cuddles doesn't mean you're not tough. So yes, this is who is causing all of the commotion.
Okay.
Down. Yeah. That's his whole issue is he wants to be held the whole time. And we don't have time for that. We got work to do. So
You need to grow a couple of extra arms.
No, someone told me I should just get one of those doggy carriers. I was like, I will not. I will not. He will be on the floor where that, no. I don't even believe in doggy strollers. Like they put dogs in strollers.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, he's got 4 legs.
He's gonna walk.
Yeah. Just like my kids when they were small. Once you know how to walk, we good. Come on, let's go.
That's it. Yep.
That's it. So as we kind of bring it down, because it is now 11 o'clock and our hour has come to an end, I want to give each of you time to have your kind of what is your final comment, final recommendation, or something you would like to share with the audience? If you have a book, if you have something coming up, feel free to share that. But how can they connect with you? Would you like to go first, Alicia?
Sure. Well, the I See My Baby movement, sisterhood platform, you can join us virtually or in person. We do the work all throughout the year. And then every year in November, we have a retreat. Last year it was in Brandywine, Maryland. This year it was in Negril, Jamaica. And in
Yes.
2025, we will be back in Negril, Jamaica. And during that time, we dive deep. Every retreat, I bring out a new resource. So the theme is release, and it's fitting and right during this segment to talk it through. Let's release it together in writing. It's freeing. Remember, there are no judgment. This is your thing. If you want to share it like I am on platforms, fine. If not, like someone said earlier, burn it. But it is for
That's it.
you. Um, it is for you. It is to support you and wherever you are, whatever you're going through. If you would like to reach out to me, I am here. As you can see, I'm an open book. My
Mhm.
website is icmybaby.org. Let's do it. Let's heal together.
I love it. And thank you so much for being here, Alicia. And Ronnie.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to connect with me, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at Ronnie Morgan. I also have a blog site. If you are dealing with disabilities, neurodivergencies, mental health challenges, queerness, things, those are kind of the intersections I live at and that I write about constantly. So if you have any interest in kind of following along that journey and reaching out to me, sharing your own story, I'm always here for that. So that's ronniemorgan.com. Again, I said earlier, just do the hard thing and start writing. Don't let fear and judgment stop you from getting your feelings out on paper.
Mm.
It's been a massively healing journey for me, and I think it can be for you too.
Yes. And you, Sharonda, would you like to share? What are your final thoughts and words for the people?
I'm a big fan of journaling. Like Ronnie said, we can do the hard things, and we also have 100% success rate of getting through them all. You have so much to be thankful for. You have more than you know to write about. Just start. That's all.
That's it. So, want to thank y'all for joining us today. And remember, whether it's a journal, a text message, a letter to yourself, a letter to someone else that you burn, the I hate you book, the I hate this shit book. I like to put a cuss word in mine because I think that really seals it. Just know that your words have power. There is no right or wrong way to write, to feel, to think, do, or be. I want you to learn how to use your words to heal, to connect, and to grow. So this week, I challenge you to write something just for you. Remember, you are more than your struggles. You get to be the author of your own story. So let's write our way to healing together. And until next time, we will see you again. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Wake Up Happy Sis Show. Join us live every Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern for more joy, healing, and sisterhood. Until next time, keep thriving unapologetically, sis.